Good evening. An elderly couple have been murdered in their home in Portadown. The victims, understood to be in their 80s, were both found this afternoon at Upper Ramona Park. It's understood they had been stabbed. A 40-year-old man has been arrested. Our reporter Dan Stanton has been to the scene.
It's understood family relatives discovered the bodies of the man and the woman, who were in their 80s, early this afternoon. The area has been cordoned off, with police officers protecting the scene. Detectives with forensic evidence bags have also been to the property.
Police and ambulance services were called to the Upper Ramona Park in Portadown. When they arrived there, they discovered two elderly people, dead in the house. We're now treating this as a murder investigation, and I'd like to appeal for any information around it. I'm aware that a grey Renault Kangoo van, NJZ 6101, was stolen by someone who was in that house at around about the time of this murder. That vehicle has subsequently been recovered by us in the Edenderry area of Portadown, which is a short drive from where it was taken.
People living nearby can't believe what has happened.
I know quite a number of the families that live in this area. It's a lovely, quiet, very quiet area, and it's just such a terrible, terrible shock.
Well, you've actually been talking to quite a few of the people living nearby. What have they been telling you?
Just everyone's in a state of shock, and how lovely this elderly couple were, and lovely private people, and just in a state of shock. Words can't describe how everyone's feeling here at the moment.
Well, it makes us feel a wee bit apprehensive that this could happen around here. We always thought this was a safe, quiet area, but you never know now. It just makes you a wee bit scared.
Police have confirmed that a 40-year-old man has been arrested in connection with the murder of the elderly couple. He was detained not far from the scene of the killing. Dan Stanton, BBC Newsline, Portadown.
An IRA informer has named two deceased senior members of the IRA as the men who authorised the Kingsmill murders in 1976. During an inquest into the deaths of 10 Protestant workers, Sean O'Callaghan named Seamus Toomey and Brian Keenan as the men who sanctioned the gun attack. Ida Duncan was in court.
Sean O'Callaghan was behind the killing of a female soldier and an RUC Special Branch officer. In the 1970s and 80s, he worked as an informer for Garda Special Branch. Today, he told Belfast Coroner's Court the names of two men who he said gave the go-ahead for the attack on the workman's bus at Kingsmill. One was Brian Keenan, described by Mr O'Callaghan as a quartermaster in the IRA, a man in charge of the IRA's bombing campaign, the organisation's main link to Colonel Gaddafi, and a dogmatic, forceful man. The other was Seamus Toomey, the IRA's chief of staff at the time, and a man who he described as extremely sectarian. Sean O'Callaghan told the court that Seamus Toomey and Brian Keenan had not consulted the IRA's Army Council before authorising the attack. He went on to say that they would not have had to at the time. He said that the Army Council had agreed a broad policy on how to retaliate to sectarian murders, and that they would have had permission to decide how and when to hit back. He told the court he had no direct knowledge of the incident, but that his evidence was based on information gleaned from his involvement with the Republican movement. At the time of the attack, a group called the South Armagh Republican Action Force said they carried out the killings. Mr O'Callaghan told the court that during his time in the IRA, he had never met an IRA member or a Republican who believed that it was anything but the IRA's work. When asked if a rogue element could have carried out the atrocity, he said that if weapons were taken and an unauthorised attack carried out, there would have been severe repercussions. When asked if that meant dead bodies, he replied, absolutely. Asked if he thought the IRA would ever apologise for the atrocity, he said only if its leadership thought it was politically expedient to do so. Ita Dungan, BBC Newsline, Laganside Courts.
Bonfires across Belfast are to be inspected in the wake of critical injury suffered by a 9-year-old boy near a bonfire site in the west of the city. The inspections will focus on any chemicals that may pose a risk to public safety. BBC Newsline's Mark Simpson reports.
Cameron Dixon's condition improved overnight. He's now off a ventilator. but he still needs round-the-clock treatment. At the weekend, he inhaled fumes from chemicals dumped near this bonfire site off the Shankill Road. A local community worker says the bonfire itself was not the cause of the problem.
This was an issue of fly tipping. Bonfires themselves are becoming more and more responsible, and they certainly don't want incidents where people are coming and dumping materials that could be of a real danger and risk the young people around them.
There are many other bonfires in the city, and they all face the same potential problem. Let's take a closer look at this bonfire. It's in East Belfast in Orangefield Park, right beside the new multi-million-pound Greenway. If we take a look, we can see some trees, some clothes, bit of broken glass, more trees. Around here we can see dumped wood, an old basin, some other rubbish and some doors which actually look to be in pretty good condition. On the face of it, nothing harmful. But with bonfires you can never be totally sure. That's why Belfast City Council have decided to act. According to an internal memo, council officers and PSNI will deploy extra resources to carry out joint visits to all bonfire sites across the city. They'll be looking for chemicals, and the aim is to ensure that what happened to young Cameron Dixon doesn't happen to anyone else. Mark Simpson, BBC Newsline.
Now, it could be a big weekend for a school in County Down. The choir of St Patrick's Primary near Rathfriland will find out tomorrow night if they've made it through to the final stages of the ITV show Britain's Got Talent. Our education correspondent Robbie Meredith has been to meet them.
They're the school who proved to be more than a match for Simon Cowell.
Why is your choir different from everything else we've seen before? What do you think?
We are unique because we have powerful voices and we make a very lovely tune.
And 11-year-old Dervla wasn't wrong. She and her fellow pupils from St Patrick's left the judges speechless with their version of the Keen song Somewhere Only We Know. Today they were back in rehearsals in the school hall waiting for tomorrow night's big reveal with high hopes.
I think we could go on and win it. Oh, I'll be very nervous and a bit excited at the same time.
It's been, non-stop practicing, rehearsing, and all the children are really, really excited.
But the choir are taking their stardom in their stride. If all goes well tomorrow, they'll be back on stage live on ITV on Monday night. Robbie Meredith, BBC Newsline.
Great stuff. Now let's get a look at the forecast for the weekend with Barabest.
Hello there. The hottest day of the year so far has managed to spark off some thunderstorms for some western counties, and a weather warning has been issued for us all through the day on Saturday for some torrential downpours heading our way. But before then, many of us tonight will stay dry. It will be very mild again, 14 or 15 degrees for many of us. But through the day tomorrow, it's going to become much more unsettled. Heavy downpours heading our way. Although it's not going to be raining all day, there will be some dry gaps in between. But when you do get some of that rain, you'll probably know about it. We're likely to see some thunder and lightning as well. And if you're travelling tomorrow, weather warnings have been issued right across Ireland with some torrential downpours. Some thunderstorms likely too for parts of northern England and through Scotland. Further south is a largely dry picture and very warm towards the southeast of Britain, 29 or 30 degrees. But right across Ireland, we are expecting more of an unsettled picture as we hold on to low pressure. And that will last with us through much of the day, especially in western counties where some heavy downpours will remain. Temperatures at best tomorrow, 17 or 18 degrees, maybe a touch higher if we do manage to get some sunshine. But there is good news. Through the evening tomorrow and overnight into Sunday, it turns largely dry. A bit of a cooler, fresher night too, with lows of 11 or 12 degrees. For Sunday, we do hold on to a lot of cloud, but it's mainly dry. The winds coming in from the northwest, keeping it feeling a little bit cooler towards the north coast. For Bank Holiday Monday, a similar picture. Largely dry, lots of cloud though, maybe some sunshine.
That's it for now. We're back tomorrow a little earlier than usual at 4:10 due to coverage of the FA Cup final. For now though, from everyone here, whatever you're doing, have a good night. Bye-bye.